Good evening, Central Indiana, and welcome to Porch Time Live from JTH Construction Studio. In-house, we have Carl Gilbert. We will get to him momentarily. He's all decked out, looking like he's ready to hit Monroe, but everything but the hat. We'll get to that later. So, real quick, we're live in JTH Construction Studio. Contact Joe for all your construction needs, 765-913-8599. American Basement Solution, Mr. Larry Ralph Sr., 1-877-409-2837. Fathom Real Estate with Teresa Messmer, 765-341-8911. Wellspring, that's Bob Goodrum's group, 765-346-6661. Stids Comfort System, give Caleb a call at 765-346-0195. Livewire Tommy, electrical consultant, give Tom a call at 765-792-4012. Wayman's Furniture Appliance Mattress, 765-342-4339. Mr. Andrew Payton, the yard barber, he's doing some good things. I saw him post some nice pictures today. 765-318-4108. Give Andrew a call. He's a hard-working young man. Hometown Nutrition, Martinsville, our favorite gal, 765-315-0738. We will be up there Sunday for a little benefit they're putting together for Brittany Grounds. We'll be live off and on there Sunday. Stop in for your protein shakes, iced coffee, boosted teas, and smoothies. Of course, Logan's Cosmos, 765-318-3388. If you need your hair did for prom coming up. I need my hair fixed completely, but she won't touch her dad's hair. So, Jacob Creek, Cedar Creek, 12 concerts, 26 bands, and it all starts May 20th. And that's it tonight for sponsors. What's up, Tim? Guys, like and share this. I know they had a big meeting this week. Had over 100 people there. This is a hot topic, man.
It is.
You nailed it. First of all, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us where you're from and graduated from Martinsville. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So my name is Carl Gilbert. I grew up in the Morgan County area all my life. Born and raised in Mooresville, Martinsville area. My dad lived in Mooresville. My mom lived in Martinsville. Graduated from Martinsville in '96, a long time ago.
85.
So yeah, I've been here all my life. Been born and raised in the community. Been involved in the community. Never left the community really.
Right. And you do a little work on the northern end of the county. Some people might know you by auctioning, huh?
Yep. I've been in the auction industry all my life. Bought my mom and dad out going on 9 years ago. Run the auction full time, and it's all we do for a living. So yeah.
It's a big deal up there. If you ever get a chance to go up and just see it, a lot goes on at that end of the county. But now you're involved. Obviously, you're a fisherman.
Yeah.
You spend your time on the water, which is always a good thing.
Try to.
But you got something different here you're working on based towards kids.
Right. Yeah. So we launched. Let me rephrase that. We relaunched the Morgan County High School Bassmasters. It's an organization, Fishes Indiana Bass Youth Nation and Indiana Bass Federation, two different circuits. There was a gentleman that had it up and going several years ago. They ran with it. A lot of kids from Mooresville was already a part of that. And then his son graduated, I think, 3 years ago is what he told me, 3.5 years ago. And then it kind of stalled out. Nobody picked it up and ran with it. So we've picked up back with it and trying to get it set back up and running again and get these kids involved and get them out on the water and enjoy some time fishing.
See, you told me that off air before we got started that it was already in place, and I had never heard of it.
Are you tearing stuff up?
I'm trying. So you're picking up the pieces that were just kind of set down.
Yeah.
And you're going to run with it.
Yeah, so they had a pretty good program. I know they had some state finalists and state champions. But like I said, they ended up graduating high school, and they were a small organization at the time, and nobody wanted to pick up and, I guess, run with the program. So they just kind of dispersed.
So there is a competitive side to it, too. You'll do events, contests.
Oh, yeah. So this all started with my son. So I've coached baseball, coached travel baseball. I coached at Monrovia High School and Monrovia Middle School for a couple of years. Left all that, got away from coaching the sport, and my son's like, "Hey, Dad, since you're not coaching, let's go fish some tournaments."
You got nothing to do right now.
Yeah, since you got nothing to do, let's me and my buddy Clay want to go fishing. So I'm like, okay. So we checked into it, and they actually fished the fall circuit
Really?
with Bass Federation. I said, well, if we're gonna do it, let's go see what it's about before we jump both feet in the water. Let's just stick our toe in and see how well it goes. And it just stuck. They missed the first tournament of the year, and they're fishing state finals with that in April, but they're in the top 25 out of 68 teams.
Wow.
And still missed a tournament. So they had a pretty good season. But yeah, 68 anglers, 60 to 68 anglers take the water every weekend that they do this. So that's 120 kids. That's a lot of boats. So there's a lot, and that's just the southern division. That's not counting.
Now those are just kids you're talking about.
That's just kids.
High school kids.
High school and middle school.
Oh wow. I was thinking that was an adult. You were talking adult there, but
no, that's the kids. That's the kids. So we fished the Bass Federation in the fall. And like I said, they have a north and southern division. We fished the southern division because that's where we're at. But like I said, they had on average 50. Some tournaments 50, as high as 60, 65 boats in those tournaments.
And some of the lakes you fished, Raccoon, Cataract, Monroe.
It was mainly Monroe and Patoka last year. Yeah, we fished. In fact, all the tournaments were at Monroe, and then the last one was at Patoka. Yeah. Now this year they're switching it up.
That's a good little drive to Patoka.
It is. It is a good little drive, but it was over fall break.
Okay.
So a lot of the kids went down, spent 3 or 4 days pre-fishing and some time.
Right.
But this year they're changing it up. Like we'll fish the very first tournament of the year is Rocky Point. One of the parents texted me today, Jocelyn Elliott. She's like, "Where's Rocky Point?" That's actually the Ohio River, right down on the southern Indiana, right on the Indiana-Kentucky border. So near what is that? That's Tell City, near Tell City down there. So. So we're going down there. There'll be a Patoka tournament. Actually, there's 2 Patoka tournaments and a Monroe tournament. That'll be the fall series. So it'll be interesting. The other division that fishes in the spring, they actually will fish several different lakes. We'll have one at Monroe. There's one at Brookville. Then there's another one at Monroe. And then the state finals is on the opposite end of the state, all the way up at Wawasee, Lake Syracuse.
Oh, that's northern tip.
Yeah, on the northern tip. So we'll be fall. The fall tournament schedule will be on the southern tip, and the northern will be on the very northern end of the state. So it's a big spectrum of.
Now,
events.
The winners of each north and south, do they go into a finals against each other or no?
So there'll be a state tournament, and then the north and south will fish against each other against that, and then you actually can move on and go fish regionals and nationals.
Really? Mm-hmm. So this entire country.
Yeah, this isn't just Morgan County. This is, there's a national tournament this summer. I think it's in June. Up in Wisconsin, there's tournaments in Alabama. These kids can travel all over U.S. to fish.
So if the finals are in the Sabine River in Texas, just let me know and I'll go. I'll go by for you.
Yeah, they are. And then there's tournaments. I was just watching. There's a bait company called Slickapalooza. They're out of Texas. We buy some baits and stuff off of them. They do some Facebook auctions and different things, and we kind of sponsor them because they do a lot for the kids too. And they actually have a big tournament called Slickapalooza 2023, and I wanted to say it's in June in Texas, but Texas has a pretty big showing of bass tournaments too.
Huge state.
It is. Yeah. But there's a lot of kids that fish in Texas, so it's not just an Indiana thing. This is a national organization.
Very cool. Now you're talking Monrovia, Mooresville, Eminence, Martinsville, high school wise, and all the associated junior highs underneath them. Yeah.
Any one of them, the kids can come and join the club and fish. The big thing we're having issues with right now is it's a crawl walk stage, getting everything set up, figuring out the ins and outs. What kind of boats can we use? Like one of the parents was like, "Can we use our pontoon boat?" So we had to make phone calls. It's not preferred, but they will.
Tough to bass fish off a pontoon.
It is. It's hard to fish off a bass, off a pontoon boat. But if that's all they have, then we'll make it adapt. The only downside to that is, and we hopefully they're watching. Hopefully we don't break their heart here, but we did talk to them. They will be able to fish everything but the state finals. They will not be able to fish state finals on a pontoon boat because where we launch, they have to go under a low bridge, and the pontoon boats
won't make it.
They won't clear the bridge. And then there's no variance. Like you can't go launch from another location.
keeping it fair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the dads are involved with this too. The kids' dads that are going to join the club, they're involved with it too.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
They'll
So,
provide the boats.
yeah, so they'll provide the boats, dads, uncles, grandparents. We've got some uncles, family members. It ain't even have to be a family member. It could be a close friend, close, acquaintance or whatever. They're the ones that have to drive the boats.
Right.
Even seniors in high school, they're not allowed to drive the boats. Giving me a hard time about my hat, but in April we're fishing a tournament at Lake Monroe with it's called the Open Minnow Bucket. It's IU and Purdue. They're college. They have college teams at IU and Purdue, and they're not allowed to drive the boats at the college level.
Really?
Yeah, they have to rely on people like us to volunteer our boats and go out there and help captain them. And
so I'm going to ask you this: this might be ridiculous, but can you get scholarships from?
Absolutely.
Awarded to from the fishing.
Yeah, there's tons of scholarship money out there. Tons of scholarship money for fishing.
That is phenomenal. I'm going back to high school. I want to fish.
Some of these colleges, believe it or not, you can get more money bass fishing than you can playing baseball or football.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, I always heard that it was girls golf returns the most scholarships, like they got 10 spots and 3 girls will show up and there's 7 open.
Right.
So I'm like, if your kid can pick a club up, get her to hit it, because now it's fast. Get your kid out there with a pole in your hand. You want to send him to college. There's you go. There you go.
It's so Murray State. They're in Kentucky.
Yep.
Down there on Kentucky Lake. My son plays baseball and he's received a lot of interest from colleges. I mean, we get 4, 5, 10 a week. Emailing and questioning him and stuff. And I actually talked to Murray State when we were doing some of this and asked them, because they have a pretty stout bass fishing team.
Well,
and
good location.
Yeah, great location.
Yeah.
And they have a great team there. They have a good baseball team. And I talked to him, the guy that was kind of running, and he's like, "Yeah, I can get you more scholarship money if your son qualify for our bass team than you'll make at Murray State." And it doesn't matter who you are.
What's qualifications though for?
I mean, it's talent level, just like anything.
Yeah,
you got to be decent. I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, they're just not throwing money hand and fist at everybody,
right?
But you've got to get at this level, and the earlier you can get these kids out here fishing and getting those levels started, the better off they're going to be.
So important.
The better off they're going to be.
Can you go over some of the rules associated with that apply to the bass fishing? For the kids that have to deal with, I know a lot of people, me myself, I'll just show up with a tackle box full of everything, and I've cast 50 times before 8 a.m. and tried everything in the book. Is that stuff allowed, or is it a certain amount of poles? You know what I mean?
So there's no limitation as the amount of poles. I mean, your only limitation is what your boat will hold.
Right.
I can tell you with my boat, between my poles and my son's poles that we have on our boat, I think we have about 40. And he's wanting to buy. He's wanting to buy more.
Right.
So there's no limitation on it. It's up to the boat that you're, fishing out of. Some boats are smaller. Some boats are a little bit larger, of course. Have more room, more storage space. The big thing is it's all artificial. You cannot use any live baits.
Right.
So throwing a bobber out there with a minnow on the end of it, it's just not going to work. You have to throw artificial baits. You can only have one pole in your hand at a time. So, I'm known for going crappie fishing and throwing 3 or 4 poles out there, and you can't do that with the bass.
The only way to do it, you put one on the bottom, one in the middle, and you're jigging with another, and it's whatever hits
you
first.
Figure out where they're at, and then start adjusting the rest of them.
Right.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that's one of the big limitations too. Is you can only have one. I mean, you can't throw 4 or 5 poles out there. So that's as far as gear and equipment wise. I mean, it's pretty well open, as long as it falls within those ramifications. I mean, there's guys that's throwing old school wooden crankbaits, and guys throwing the new angled baits or whatever they can come up with, and some of the gimmick baits, and you'll see it all out there on the water when you're out there fishing.
A couple of things I want to hit on. Kids haven't signed up yet, though, have they? Have you had kids sign up yet?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So when we had our meeting, we had a meeting on Sunday. We had with parents and everybody there. We had about 100 people. That's rough count. Actually, probably is a little bit more than that, because we had about 85 chairs out and we had people standing. I know
Pretty good count then.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good count. I know we've had, I believe we're up to 9 boats already signed up. Those are teams that have completed.
18 kids.
Yeah, so we got about 18 kids that are signed up to have boats, and I think we have another 15. Again, these are rough numbers. We're still trying to get it. I think we have another 15 that don't have a boat.
Oh wow.
So, and then I received, like, I got a phone call today from 2 or 3 people that missed the meeting that we knew about, but we didn't account for them yet. They're coming. So yeah, I think we're going to be sitting on about 30 to 40 kids possibly.
What's the youngest you can go? 6th grade?
No, you can actually get younger than that. There were some kids out there, 4th graders fishing.
That's awesome.
So it just depends on the kids. I mean, they try to keep it middle school, but like Martinsville, technically, the way Martinsville's set up, 5th grader is a middle schooler nowadays. True. So yeah. So it's hard to say. You have to be 6th grade, 7th grade. So
right. And the oldest 18, 19, so senior
in
high school.
Yeah, senior in high school.
Right.
You can't. Once you get over that, you got to go fish with the big boys.
Right. And the other thing I wanted to hit on, sponsorships. That's big. Now, if somebody wanted to become a sponsor, are they sponsoring the kid, the boat, and or the actual club? So
that's the area that we're trying to get ironed. We're struggling. We're trying to get ironed out. To be honest, I mean, we've got to make sure that we follow and we've got an attorney that we're working with right now to make sure we do things the right and legal way.
Right.
I don't want to take sponsorship money and start going out there and, oh, wait a minute, you did this wrong or you did that wrong. So
sure.
There's a lot of fees involved in this. There's $15 just to be a member of Bass, and then it's $30 every tournament they fish.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there's some costs. It's not a cheap sport, but it's and then when you start looking at the baits, a crankbait nowadays, the run of the mill, not even the best of the best, is $7-8 per crankbait.
Right. A good tackle box can break you pretty quick when you fill them up.
You're not kidding. It's it can be pretty pricey pretty quick. A good fishing pole, if you're going to get quality, rod and reel, $100, $150 per rod and reel.
Yeah.
You got a kid that's wanting to get 5 or 6. It's hard to fish. It's hard to fish a tournament with one rod, because if it goes down, then you're done.
Right. And I'm going to ask you this, because it used to, I think, other than Walmart and Rural King, there isn't really Greenwood, I guess, is what's up there? Cabela's, not Cabela's. Dick's. Yeah,
there's a Dick's.
Isn't there a trading post somewhere around here
for fishing tackle? Yeah. If the kids want to get involved, Honey Creek Tackle.
Where's that at?
It's in Bargersville. Jason runs a phenomenal shop over there. They just had their fall seminar. They had Gerald Swindle, who's a pro angler in there. They had Brent Eller, and they had Scott Martin. They had a big 3-day event. It was huge.
Right here in Bargersville?
Right here in Bargersville. There was thousands of people showed up.
I used to think I know what's going on around here, but not anymore.
Yeah, Jason. So Jason, a little bit of the story of Jason. Jason had started his tackle shop in a shed in his backyard. Bought and sold stuff online, and now I think his building there's probably, if I had to guess, 15,000 square foot building.
Wow.
They sell bass boats there. You can go buy $100,000 boat at his shop. He's got hunting. He's got archery. He's got fishing right in Bargersville.
Where's it at?
Just south of town there. So if you go to 144 and it's not 31.
Whiteland Road? No, Whiteland Road runs with it. Diagonal.
Yeah.
135.
135. There you go. 135. If you right there at 144 and 135, hang a right, head south. It's like a quarter of a mile just south of town. There's a Napa
there's a Mexican restaurant over there too.
Yeah, the Mexican restaurant's right there on the corner.
On the corner.
Yeah, it's just south of there. There's actually a big Napa over there. It's a pretty big complex.
See, that's an area that a lot over here don't. You're either going to Brown County or Greenwood.
Right.
And actually, when they were tearing that up, I would go 44 to 135 and up. So I probably drove past it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
It's right there. You can't miss it. It's a long building, and Jason puts on he's got a phenomenal building over there. His staff is wonderful to work with, and they do a lot for the communities. I know I sent them an email today. And we're trying to figure out what they can do to help do some
I
sponsorship.
want to go over and go
kids.
live, I think, from his
Yeah,
facility.
he's got a neat facility. Like I said, they got indoor archery ranges where they do archery lessons for the kids over there.
That's fantastic.
Like I said, they
I would
sell
rather buy
firearms.
off of them than off of the corporate, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And you could put his store, really, in all honesty, you can put up against any Cabela's.
Right.
I mean, the size is not going to come nowhere near equal to a Cabela's or a Bass Pro. I mean, but the quality and the selection. I mean, and he's got a lot of guys that are local.
Yeah.
You know, like Hog Snatchers. They're a local. They're out of Trafalgar area. They make their own soft plastic baits.
That's awesome.
And Jason supports every one of those guys. Stupid Tubes. They have Stupid Tubes. Honey Creek Tackle actually makes their own soft plastic baits in there too. And then they have a lot of the big name brands too and stuff.
So if your kid's just starting out and want to get involved in this, there's 20 minutes down the road.
20 minutes down the road. I mean, they could
want.
spend thousands and thousands of dollars in there real quick.
Including the boat.
Like I said, Jason's a great guy. Kind of a fun story is when they did the seminars, we went over there, because I mean, Gerald Swimmer and Scott Martin was there, and that's one of my son's most favorite fishermen, Scott Martin.
Sure.
And the last day, they give a bunch of giveaways, and they do this once a year, and they did a bunch of giveaways. Well, this year, Jason decided to do a special giveaway at the very end, and actually a kid won it. And the giveaway is a $750 shopping spree in the store.
Oh.
And he gives a ton of stuff away over there during that. But I mean,
he was set.
Oh, he was set, yeah. But Jason gives back to the community, and gives back to the kids. He's all about getting the kids involved in the sport.
I'm serious. I will get a hold of him because I want to go over and promote that because I don't fish as much anymore, but I know there's a lot here that do. You can see it every Sunday.
Oh yeah,
Saturday morning heading south. Over there and promote, and
yeah.
I need to come up there to one of your magnificent auctions you do, man. You guys have everything.
We have a few, that's for sure. We've sold about 4,000 items this month alone. So
is that almost a record or close to?
It's getting pretty close. I mean,
and you do it all in house right there, don't you?
Yeah, all in house.
Yeah.
Whether it's online, we do a lot of online now too, though.
Yeah.
We've transitioned to where we can do 1,000 lot online auction in 3.5 hours.
See, we think we're cool.
Versus 12 hours for a live auction.
All right, we think we're cool when we sell 200 items in 12 hours here. So, well, you're shooting for the start of next year, correct?
No, this year.
Oh, we're
fishing
shooting for this year.
We're fishing in April.
You're doing it. You're not holding back.
No, we're fishing in April.
You're less than 2 months away.
We are. That's why it's been a push. And like I said, when we started this in the fall, and I was like, okay, we'll put this out there, and then we had an overwhelming response.
Oh yeah, when I read that, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, we got hundreds and hundreds of messages. How's this going to work? And like I said, we had 100 people show up. We're going to have another meeting here in about 2.5 weeks. We're working up. So I got a guy, one of the parents that was there. His name's Forrest. Stood up, and he's going to come on board and help run it. Him and his son have fished the circuit a couple of years now. In fact, he was going to try to come tonight, but to Ohio. But he said he's online listening.
Is he going fishing?
Yeah, he may be going fishing. I don't know. But he's going to help us run it. And he's a super got a lot of wealth of knowledge when it comes to the sport. And he's opened my eyes up to a couple of things. But so me and him are getting together, kind of finalizing. And because we want to do it right, we don't want to do this the wrong way and kids get the bad taste in their mouth. But there's a whole lot of logistics and figuring out and how do you determine which kids get to fish in a boat if you don't have enough boats? And
right,
that's the toughest part. And
I'm sitting here trying to think how can come up with another 7-8 boats for you, but then next week you might need 14.
Right, it's that's the biggest.
You're not canoeing down over at Matador or whatever.
No, and there's requirements. I mean, there's certain requirements. I mean, it has to be at least a 16-foot long boat.
Tagged, state license.
Yeah, you got to have a trolling motor. You have to have a working live well.
Yep.
Because that's the thing about these organizations. They're about conservation. They're not out there just catching fish and killing them.
Right.
You have to. I mean, you're penalized if you have a dead fish. They don't want, and if you have too many, I mean, eventually they're going to say enough's enough. Right. They're not out there they want to conserve the sport.
And they're teaching the kids the right way.
Yeah, they absolutely are. So that's been the biggest downfall is because, trying to figure it out. Like, we've had parents, well, can we fish with a pontoon boat? And it's not ideal. I mean, but if that's what we have to do to get kids out there, but that's been the biggest, one of the biggest hurdles, and then just figuring out how we're going to move forward. Like the money. I mean, we have some sponsors already that's saying they'll commit.
Right.
We have some fundraisers we've talked about, but then how do we divvy up the money?
Right.
What, where do you go to where does it go? Who, what kid gets what? My son's blessed. He doesn't, need a whole lot of sponsorship money. So, how do we divvy that up where it's equally and fair, and reward those that if we do fundraisers, how do you reward the ones that get out there that really need it and bust it to, raise $400 or $500?
Even if you had a fisherman that could adopt a fisherman, a kid, say, hey, I'm going to sponsor you for this event or this season,
right?
Whatever it may be, $1,000, 500, whatever's needed, and that would be cool to have.
Oh yeah, it would be.
There's not everybody can walk out and pick up a pole, like you said, good pole and good.
Yeah, no, they
tackle
can't.
And
one of the parents that called us tonight from Mooresville, he's got 2 daughters, and that's been the great thing about it. It's a diverse group.
Girls and boys. Yeah.
I think we have 3 full boats that came to us with a captain and a co-angler that are all girl teams.
That's awesome.
And it's awesome. Actually,
now will they take the fish off the hook themselves? That's the question.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
Mine wouldn't, but yeah.
Mine wouldn't either.
Right.
But actually, one of the better anglers in the fall in the Federation, there was a female there, and she was just, putting it through all the guys.
Yeah.
She was winning tournament after tournament.
Hey, it doesn't matter who and where.
No, it doesn't. And that's the thing that I love about it. It's so diverse and stuff. But one of the guys that called me today, he's bringing his 2 daughters to fish, and they're twin daughters. But he's like, hey, I've got a ton of gear, like excess gear. I inherited some of it. I want to donate some of it.
That's awesome.
We're going to give back. So that's the other thing is, if guys got fishing poles sitting around, it may not be the best quality, but it's good and usable, and some kids may not have it, or old baits, or whatever. If they want to donate to the kids, I'm sure there'll be a lot of kids that.
If somebody wanted to donate stuff, do they bring it up to your auction?
Yeah,
house?
Or just call us. We'll figure it out. They can call the auction, or they can just message us. Indiana High School or Morgan County High School Bassmasters.
That's right. You do have a Facebook page.
We have a Facebook page.
Get on there.
They can get on there. It's on. I know it's been shared on the Porch Time page several times to try to get the awareness out to the kids too. So they have gear and tackle they want to donate. Just again, it's kind of geared toward bass fishing. So crappie baits and stuff like that. They're still welcome to donate that stuff.
If you want to get your crappie bait, give it to me. Bring it here to Porch Time. So.
But yeah, it's gonna take a whole community to pull this off. It really is.
The outpouring of kids that want to do it is magnificent.
It is, and that's the other thing too. So we're working with another organization. They're pretty successful. They've won the state championship. There's an actual state championship in these circuits. And the school's won the state championship the last 2 years in a row. Yeah. And we've been in contact with them. They're actually a local school, and they run a neat program where the kids that can't get out and they don't have enough boats, they run a bank program, and they get those kids out competing on the bank, fishing in ponds and stuff. And at least they're getting the experience. They're getting the knowledge. So they're getting some education, and we're working on getting that set up too, is the education level. Because that's the thing, some of these organizations out there, they take the best kids that already know how to fish. They don't have classes. They don't have nothing like that. Like, we want to do it the right way.
Right.
We've already got some semi-pros and pros on board. They're going to come do seminars with the kids. So those kids that may not be in a boat, that may have to do some of the bank fishing because we can't get enough boats, at least they're going to get that knowledge. They're going to get that education where they can go out there and start putting some of it to place in the local ponds. Because I tell you what, local ponds is actually where it's at. You catch a whole lot better fish.
The old timers will tell you, everybody's got a honey hole they go to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I caught it back down the roadways. Yeah,
some of them local ponds.
That's where you get your wall hangers there.
I was fortunate enough to catch a nice one on Monroe the other day, and not many guys catch one over 6.5, 7 pounds on Lake Monroe. And I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, there's guys that fish their whole life that never catch one on Monroe that big. But I know a whole lot of guys that's caught them on these little ponds, these little 4 and 5 acre ponds. Because they don't get fish. And the fish, they just sit there and eat.
And you got one big monster normally in there.
Oh yeah.
You get him out.
My son caught one on about an acre and a half pond think he was 8, went like 8.5, 9 pounds.
You got him in, huh?
Yeah, got him in on it. Little kids, but it was on a pond. It was pond fish. I mean,
I tell you this, one of the funniest things I ever seen back years ago. They don't do it anymore. They should. The city held a 4th of July fishing contest at the park, and the pond up there was 99% carp, and it was whoever caught the biggest carp. And me and my younger brother and I would go there. Tim and I would go up there, and it started at 6 a.m. There were people would camp out. This on the 4th of July. Camp out. The minute boom 6 started, holes in lines in water. So everything from the Wheaties balls to livers, chicken, every hot dogs, corn, and we'd fish all day. And this guy, Gibson, I think, he had his son and daughter with him. Dad took his kids up there, and he got them little, Zebco Walmart pose. That kid hooked probably a 20-pound carp on that thing, a foot from shore, and they got that thing in without that pole snapping. I think he ended up winning. To this day, I'm like, there's no way. I sat here and fished all day and didn't get a bite. This kid, probably on hot dogs, probably caught that.
Probably so.
But that's what it's all about.
Those programs are important, and I think they're key for our youth. I mean, the more activities we can get these kids engaged in, keep them off the streets. You never know whose life you might change.
Taking the words out of my mouth. They, like I said, I'd had Pat Williams with the softball in here, had the chess team in here, did J2 dance last night, and now you with this. Just luck of the draw. Lots of interesting kids shows right now, but as you said, keeping our kids occupied with structure and teamwork and skills keeps them off the street.
Oh, you're not kidding there.
And nowadays, it's needed more than ever.
Oh,
so
absolutely. There's a lot of youth out there that need some direction, and that's the one thing that I loved about coaching. And I hated that was the biggest thing that I hated about leaving the coaching, the high school and middle school era. There's kids out there that them figures out there.
Yeah, that's
the only father figure they may have,
yep.
Or it may be the only role model they have, and communicating and connecting with those kids is critical.
Right now, there's 1 or 2 generations of kids that their grandparents are their parents,
mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, their parents aren't around anymore.
Yep.
And the connection is not always there. And so when you're put in front of someone half the age of their grandparents talking to a high school kid, the connection's going to maybe happen a lot quicker and be able to get through to them. It's needed. Unfortunately, it's time to live in.
It is, and the sad thing is, I mean, and nothing against the teachers and coaches and everybody out there, but not all of them have compassion for some of these kids and understand. And that's the most fortunate thing that I've been able to do in the last 7 years coaching, is reaching out to those kids.
Yeah.
I've got one young man right now that he become almost like a son to us, and I mean, unfortunately, he moved out of state. He had to move. His aunt and uncle adopted him. We still talk to him this day, and he comes up here fall break to visit with family, and comes out and hangs out with us and eats dinner with us. And I mean,
one of the family.
Yeah, he's one of our family, and he always will be. So it's critical for those coaches and teachers and organizations to try to help mentor some of those kids.
Right.
There's a program that called me today. I don't know how they got my number, from Kokomo, Indiana, about this whole bass thing.
That's awesome.
They've got a kid up there they don't have nothing up there. There's nothing in their area, and he's like, we're trying to find something. And I told him we'd try to work with them a little bit, but they got to talking. They put on a kids camp every year in July.
Up in Kokomo.
Up in Kokomo. It's a kids fishing camp. It's a 2-week program. They take 140 kids. That's it. And they take all 140 kids out on boats fishing.
Ooh.
And the lady told me that it's such an overwhelming experience. I'm actually gonna have some more conversations and see what we can do to maybe help. But at 3:30 in the morning, the kids are lined up. Parents are lined up to sign them up. I mean, she'll tell you, if you want to be first in line,
but
you got to be here.
They don't have a bass fishing club.
They don't have a bass fishing club because they don't have the boats. I mean, it's hard to get these boats and get these, because I mean, the guys that fish. I mean, I fish. I enjoy fishing. I do my own tournaments, and just it's hard to get those guys that can commit. Especially if they don't have kids. Now, if they have kids, it's a little easier. But if they don't have kids, I mean, they've got work, they've got family lives, and
but if you're an older gentleman, and I'm not trying to put into an age here, that's going to fish two weekends out of the month instead of 4 weekends like you did past, you might be someone they want to talk to.
Oh, absolutely. We're reaching out to the clubs. We're reaching out to all of those because my goal is to get as many kids on the boat as we can.
Right.
These kids need it,
Yeah.
and they want to do it. I mean, and the talent level is there. It's from both ends of the spectrum. We've got kids that they'll compete this year and they'll have chances to make top 5, top 10 and then you got the kids that are just out there, they're just learning. So it takes all ends to help get them on the water. So any of these guys that want to volunteer their time, the hard thing about it is, and they can fish one tournament here and one tournament there. It's hard for them to compete for points at the end of the year. It's hard for them to compete, a win. But if you can get them out there on the water at least once,
right?
I mean, that's a win. The unfortunate thing, the way this program works, both of them is the kids on the boat are a team, and it's not, you don't switch kids out every tournament.
Right.
Like they're a set team. You can have a substitute in one of the tournaments. I mean, if a kid can't be there, we'll sub a kid in that doesn't have a boat. But they've got to be the same team the whole year.
They can jersey up and make their own designs.
No. So our jerseys
walked into that one.
Yeah. So our jerseys, we're in the process of getting them designed right now. We're working with a design company. In fact, I was on the phone with them today trying to get it finalized. All the kids will have to be in the same jersey.
Yeah.
So they're going to have the opportunity.
So this is real stuff.
Oh yeah, this is
big time.
I mean, this is.
They click on their Saturday morning fishing show and then say, "Hey, we gotta go hit the lake, Dad. Let's go."
Absolutely, yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's the real deal. They can, it's the same circuit that these pros fished. Like the Bass Nation and Bass Federation, that's where these guys start out. They start out and they have to work their way up through those circuits to fish professionally. I mean, these kids can get the recognition and fish their way up, and I mean, it could turn into a real career for them.
And moms, I was going to say, you can make money doing this. You got to be good.
You got to be good.
You can make money doing this.
You got to be good or lucky.
Who's the one angler that construction, 20 years married, and just hated it, and finally told us, this is a true story, that I'm quitting, I'm taking everything we got and selling it, and if I haven't made it in 3 years, you can divorce me and take everything. And I think in 2 years he'd hit $1 million something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That was about 10 years ago, and I was like, man, that guy. You talk about rolling the dice, but he did it. He made it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it can be done. I mean, it's no different than you want to chase your dreams playing baseball. You want to chase your dreams playing football. I mean, you can chase your dreams fishing. Yeah. I mean, the money's out there, and you don't even have to make it to that level. I mean, you're not going to get super rich doing it locally, but I mean, there's adult tournaments they're cash tournaments around here that you can actually win significant money. And again, you can work. Terry McWilliams, he's a prime example. I mean, he fished the local circuit, made it through the state, made it through the top 8, went and fished in regional, made it through that, fished the national, and he fished the Bassmaster Classic. I think this was in 15, maybe. It's been several years ago, but he made it all the way to the Bassmaster Classic, and he fished against the best of the best and finished top 5.
Wow.
So
now,
I mean, he made.
Is it skill or is it more luck than skill?
It's a combination. I mean, you gotta get lucky. I mean, there's a lot of skill.
You can scout and know exactly where the spot is, and know the temperature and the wind and the everything. You go out there and you got the perfect lure, and you're not catching nothing. And the guy over here with no shirt on and smoking a Marlboro
10 feet away, he's catching them. He's reeling them in and catching them all day long. Yeah, it's. I mean, the water temperature, the temperature outside, the wind, sunlight. I mean, that all plays a key role. I mean,
a lot of variables.
Yeah, there is. I mean, prime example. So the first Bassmaster event this year for the pros, Scott Martin was leading the thing.
Jennifer.
Bass Whisperer.
Now she works in Monrovia High School librarian.
Does she?
Mm-hmm. Friend of the show, helps out Heart of Gold. Every event we have, she jumps at it. So I've known her forever. She's from here.
Well, that's good people to have.
Yeah.
But no, that the Bassmaster event, Scott Martin, the guy that Honey Creek Tackle had in as a speaker this year, first day out of the 4-day tournaments, leading it with like 28, 29 pounds.
Wow.
Didn't even make the cut the third day. So they cut him from 110 boats down to 50 boats, and then only the top 10 fished the last day, and he didn't even make the cut. like the temperature changed, winds came in, and it changed that quick. And the next guy, he had 28 pounds, and the next day, guy caught 38 pounds of fish. I mean, so it's luck plays into it a little bit.
Skill,
luck and skill, yeah. But
knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, and this new technology, holy cow! Some of this technology is
crazy.
Oh yeah,
fish finders.
Yes.
Yeah, can you have a fish finder on your bass
Oh,
boat?
absolutely.
See, I wasn't for sure. I didn't know if that was a rule or not.
Yeah, they've got this. So I just got a new boat, and I was out Wednesday playing with my new boat.
I was like,
and you talk about cold and windy and wet.
That was before the front came in. Too,
Yeah,
it was windy as heck.
It was.
Yeah,
it was. Go down on Monroe, take off across Monroe Lake with 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah,
and you're the only boat out there because I think I was about the only one on the water that day that was that crazy. But white capping like crazy, but yeah, I was out there playing. New electronics. I've never had a live scope, and I've got a live scope on my boat, and you can actually watch.
So image underneath clear.
Yeah, but you can sit there and watch the fish moving around. I toss my bait out there. You can watch your bait drop down, and the one fish that you seen on Facebook that I'd caught, I watched the bait drop, and I watched the fish grab it and swim off. It was.
That's awesome.
It's some of the technology is just. It's phenomenal. It almost makes it cheating.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can clip that now.
Yeah.
And make your own video and say
it's almost like cheating
promote
anymore.
That. Yeah.
The down imaging. You can be driving down through there and see every log and every stump and every rock under the water.
No right where to cast.
No right where to cast. No, you can see the fish laying on them. It's some of the technology is pretty phenomenal. It's also pricey too.
Yeah. I bet it is. Yeah,
it's some of that's. Some of them screens and just this one screen alone, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. It's
you don't want to hit a log with that camera. No. If a kid wanted to sign up, could he still sign up?
Absolutely. Even once we get the season started, if we have boaters or somebody, because they can start like my son in the fall. We started late. We missed the first term of the year, so there's still opportunities. We'll still get them in there. If we don't have boats, we can at least try to get them in there and do the classes. Because we're putting on classes. That's the big thing. The organization called me today. There's a gentleman named Clay Dryer. If you don't know Clay Dryer in the bass circuit, you need to. I posted on our Facebook page. Clay Dryer is probably one of the most inspirational bass fishermen out there, hands down. He was born with some defects. He has no legs. He has partial one arm and no other arm, and he's a professional bass fisherman.
Oh my!
So, I encourage everybody to go out there and take a look. But
perseverance, right there.
So the organization Kokomo, he does their. He comes up and he's a motivational speaker for them every year. So I think we're working with them to get him, and trying to get it to where he'll come down and meet with our kids and have a seminar with them because, like I said, He's a huge inspiration. He's a huge Christian. He doesn't falter from his faith. He'll tell you right there. That's where makes it all worth it. And so we've got him. We've got several semi-pros and pros that have all agreed to come in and say, hey, we'll do some electronic classes or bait selection or this or that. And, how to fish out of a boat. It's completely different when you're standing on a boat for 8 hours fishing and.
It is. You got to have someone good with the troll too, or else you'll get in trouble quick.
Yeah, you got to have some stamina.
Yeah.
That's one thing we told them in the meeting is this isn't go sit on the bank for 30 minutes. You're on that boat for 8 hours.
You got to protect yourself from the sun. Got to hydrate.
Yep.
Not hydrate the way half the people do at Lake Monroe. It's a little different hydration.
You ain't kidding. But yeah, it's a different animal to get out there. Check in at 5:30 in the morning. So you're leaving the house, depending on where you live, 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a haul. Getting
down to whether Monroe or, Rocky Point or Patoka or wherever and then getting checked in because they have to check your boat. They check your live wells. You got to be on the water by a certain time for takeoff. You have to get your draw chip so that way you know when you're taking off. Then you're out there for 8 hours.
It's business. And
then after your 8 hours, you got an hour and a half of weigh-in time. So, it's a good 10, 12-hour day for these kids. It takes some stamina for them to stay up there and be able to do that.
Make them go right. They'll make them do it right first time. So.
Oh yeah, some of these kids they'll sleep good the next night. That's for sure.
They'll be excited till they're driving home at night.
Well, my son and his partner, the first tournament we did, they're like, oh yeah, and my son fishes. I've taken him out of my boat and never permanent style finishing and. They both got out there, and I tell you what, we left Monroe Lake, and I don't think we hit Bloomington, and they were both snoring like all get out, and they slept all the way home. Got home, and he's like, "Dad, I'm tired," and he went to bed and didn't wake up till like noon the next day. I mean, it'll play toll on your body.
How quick is it now getting from? Well, you're still coming from the west side, but once you hit 69, is it a lot smoother now?
Oh yeah, that's a lot smoother.
Get you down there.
69. I know it was a pain getting it installed, but now that 69's in, it's opened it up. I mean, I fish Kentucky Lake, and I love it. I love 69 being in there. It used to take me 5.5 hours.
Is it 4 hours now on the boat?
I can get down there in 3.5 if I'm cruising good enough.
If nobody's watching.
If nobody's watching.
Yeah, we went to we dropped some supplies off at Mayfield in Bowling Green also after the tornadoes went through there, and it was done, of course, down there going that way, and some of us went back roads and some of us went interstates, and the ones that did interstates probably could have been home and back by the time we got down there.
Oh yeah,
they're zipping.
It's made it. Just make sure you fuel up before you leave Bloomington.
Yeah, there's nothing between there and Evansville, right?
Don't have a diesel going that way. Lord have mercy. I went down there and had a diesel, and I looked down. I'm like, oh my goodness. I went 14 miles off the road. I had to punch into my GPS, and I was 14 miles off 69 trying to find a diesel station. I almost ran out of diesel.
Found one though.
I found one.
Bloomfield or thereabouts.
No, it's a little podunk town. I mean, there was a gas station, and that was it.
They bailed you out though.
But they definitely bailed me out. But yeah, make sure you got fuel going down through there. I'm surprised nobody's lashed onto some of that ground and put a truck stop or something in at least halfway through there, because there's nothing. I mean,
it'll be for too long.
Once you leave Bloomington, I mean, there's one right there at 231, and unfortunately, I drove past it, and I realized I was almost out of diesel fuel.
Right.
Yes. There's no turnaround on the middle of the interstate either.
Do me a favor. I'm trying to think. 100 kids, though, I couldn't get them in here. We'd have to come up there. If you have a get together, once the uniforms are all out and you get let me know. We'll come up and go live.
Oh, absolutely.
Stay out of the way and just listen.
Absolutely. You guys need to make a trip down to our tournament.
That would be cool. I don't want to go to the Ohio River though.
I'm telling you what. When we went to our first one in the fall at Monroe, I was like, okay, this is cool. There's 40, 50 boats on the water, 60 boats, and I'm like, this is neat for the kids.
Right. Until
you get to the weigh-in time.
Yeah. And
then you got all the parents. I mean, there was 150, 200, 250 people there watching the kids weigh in. And that was a thing. That's the thing that I've noticed about this so far, the experience we've had. And they cheer everybody on.
Right.
I mean, you weigh in front of everybody. If you got some big fish, you're holding them up, and everybody will cheer you on. I mean, it's it's more like a family. You may have teams all across the U.S. competing, but I mean,
everybody's together.
Everybody's together, and I mean, you may have a kid that you can see him hanging his head, like, man, I had a rough day, and kids, hey, you got it tomorrow, and they'll talk to you, and so it's really neat. It's you have that in some of the other
camaraderie amongst everybody. That's good.
You have that in some of the sports, with baseball and football, and you see that, but you don't see it at the level that we've seen with fishing.
Good deal.
I mean, they all understand the grind it takes, and I mean, some of these lakes are tough.
Right. I've never fished in a professional tournament at all. Fished Monroe plenty of times, and twice I went down there, crack of dawn, unloading the boat, and as the fog lifts off the lake, you're like, what are all these boats? Or how did they already get out here? They've been out there for a half an hour because you know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
They got to check in, get the chip. And if you've never seen the start and the finish of a tournament, I've seen this finish once and start twice. It's something to see.
It is.
And you're like, where'd all these boats come from?
You'll get there and you're like, man, it looks like 4th of July over there. It's all the lights on and stuff. And
Allen Creek's packed already.
You realize they're all on the water and they're at the boat ramp, and I mean, they're battling each other. And like I said, you can't find a better group of guys. Most of these guys, they'll help each other put the boats in the water and tie them up, and they're all talking and having a good time. And then watching the takeoff. I mean, so if you watch the pros, they do what they call a lot of them do a shotgun start where they just all take off. Where it's different with this one, so everybody get their number. Like if you're boat number 15, you're taking off 15th, and they'll call your number, and they just one at a time are idling out of the idle zone, and it's a neat sight to see, and these kids pumped up and ready to go. And
we got to do that. And we may not stick around all day, but we'll try to get down for the start and then come back for the finish.
Yeah, because it's neat. It's neat.
Yeah.
It stinks for the parents though. The parents are tough, man. It's I'm a fisherman. I'm a competitive guy, and that's the one downfall to this whole thing is the boat captains, which is the parents, are not allowed to touch a fishing pole all day.
Not even a bobber?
No, you can't touch it. Dude, kids will get disqualified if you're caught messing with it. You can't even help them tie their. I mean, you can kind of show them how to tie their baits on a little bit, but like you can't pick up a pole if they're stuck. You can't pick up the pole and try to get their crankbait out. They got to figure it out. Cut the line or figure it out. You have to sit. It's a grueling. I found out the first tournament. My tablet Netflix is my best friend on them days because it's. I mean, you
got good reception.
Oh man, you'll get so frustrated with these kids. I was like, my son, we fished him down up at Monroe, and I'm like, hey, you guys need to start right here. I'd pre-fished it. We went down there and I'd done pretty good a couple days before, and I'm like, you guys really need to start here. And they show up there and they start there, and 15, 20 minutes they haven't caught a fish, and they're like, wow, we're out of here. Let's go here. And they bailed, and the competitor came behind them about 45 minutes later and just laid on them right there, and just caught fish after fish after fish. And
don't give up your spot that quick.
Like, man, you guys got to have a little bit more patience than that.
Right.
But yeah, it's tough. It's tough as a parent or as a captain sitting there knowing, man, they can be doing this different, or they can be doing, and you can't show them. I mean, you can walk them through it, you can talk to them. You can't touch a fishing pole, but it's fun to watch them. I mean,
sure,
to see their faces light up. We was pre-fishing down at Patoka with the two boys in the fall, and one of them landed on pre-fishing 6.5, 7 pounder, and then they put another 4 or 5 pounder, and just to see them, especially when they put a fish that big in the boat,
right?
I mean, they were pretty excited, so it's pretty interesting. It's fun.
What's your favorite lake for you to fish?
For me to fish, Kentucky Lake.
Yeah.
For now, but I've never made it south. My goal this summer. So, nice thing about my boy doing travel baseball is we've got some tournaments in Georgia, and he's a pitcher only now. Used to he did everything. So now he's just a pitcher. He's decided this year he wants to concentrate and hone in his craft. I mean, he's throwing about 80 mile an hour as a freshman. So
you'll be fishing some Georgia lakes.
Oh yeah, I plan on he's pitching Tuesday and then Saturday, so we're not gonna make the drive back and forth. So we may be fishing Thursday, Friday.
I'm telling you, when I was stationed in Louisiana, and I had a buddy that had got out already, and he was living north of Galveston, north of Houston, and so early Saturday mornings before the sun would come up, or late Fridays, I would jump in the car and head over to Texas and go to his house and stay on the weekends. They lived out in the middle of nowhere. There's days I'd cross that Sabine River, and dude, that thing was a sheet of glass and little steam coming on. Like, one of these days I'm going to come back here and fish that. I haven't yet. And I watch Texas Law every weekend, and every now and then they're on the Sabine River or something. I'm like, man,
that's one of the best boat rides there is. Nice slick glass with just a real light,
just as smooth as can be. I'm like, man, I'll fish the bank. I don't care. So
I want to get down to Florida. Okeechobee is known.
Gators down there in Pythons,
man. Okeechobee's known for big fish. That's where they started the Bassmasters this year, and I mean there was several 8, 9, 10 pound fish. I mean, there's guys had 35-pound bags and 5 fish. I mean that's a 6, 7 pound average.
Yeah,
and I want to get down there, but I don't like alligators, and I can't stand snakes. And everybody,
the pythons are rampant down there right now.
Everybody says the same thing, man. If you're fishing down there, watch your bait, because the gators will chase the bait into your boat, and then the snakes like to sneak in the back of the boat, and you'll turn around and there'll be a snake in your boat. And I'm like, I don't think I'll be fishing Okeechobee anytime soon.
Shot a hole in the bottom of your boat. How'd you do that? Well, I'll tell you how. Nope.
I'd be walking on water. I can tell you that.
Right. Not a chance. That's everybody says, yeah, when you retire, you move to Florida. I'm like, I'll move to southern Alabama or southern Georgia or southern Mississippi somewhere. I'm not moving to Florida.
Yeah, no, it's too many gators.
I was stationed in Louisiana. I seen enough gators in that little bit. So, well, Carl, you're a saint for doing what you're doing, man. This is I love anything to do with kids and keep them off the street and give them direction. And there's no better way to have them put these down and get them outside, get them sunburnt, and get them. Hey, I cut my thumb on my hook. Yes, good. Oh, that's how we grew up.
It teaches them a little bit of discipline, teaches them some stamina.
Yep.
Keeps them from being soft.
Yeah.
Need to harder on.
Nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
No, nothing wrong with earning a hard day's work.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Stay in touch. I'm serious. We will go check out an event.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Come check us. Anybody can come check these events out when we do them. We'll post them on our Facebook page. If you've not seen anything or seen a tournament weigh-in or a bass tournament, man, it's a different animal. It really is. It's a team sport. There's 2 kids to a boat, but it's still an individual sport, and with kids catching their own and doing their own thing to get those fish in the boat, and so it's definitely a different animal. But yeah, anybody's got that wants to get involved, feel free to give us a call or hit us up on Facebook. If you got donations they want to do, old fishing tackle or whatever for these kids.
Yeah, that's important. Anything you want to get rid of, run it by Carl first and see if he needs it.
Sponsorships, any of that stuff. I mean, these kids need it, and if we can get these kids out here.
Forrest. Forrest.
Oh yeah, there's Forrest. He's posted our link on your guys' set on the page there. So yeah, you'll see where Forrest Parsons has posted our link to our Facebook page. And again, just reach out to us. We'll get it in the right hands. The kids that truly need it, and it's all about getting them. Keaton,
that's my nephew.
We're limited on what we can teach, unfortunately. I'm not sure. He's an IU fan, so I'm not sure how much we can teach him.
Keaton's in the Navy station, Newport News. He's a aircraft carrier Ennis, so he's stationed on the East Coast right now. He pops on here every now and then.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with the Navy.
No, man, he's an IU fan too, though.
Yeah,
so
we'll see how it goes. I think it's the 8th of April is when the IU Purdue fishing tournament on Monroe is. So.
Oh yeah, you've got that. That is.
Yeah.
Do they? Are they going against each other?
Yeah. So it's called the Open Minnow Bucket or something.
Bucket?
Yeah, it's Open
That
Minnow Bucket.
Is fabulous.
And they have a minnow bucket they pass back and forth between IU and Purdue. Purdue holds it right now. I'm just throwing that out there. They won the tournament last year.
And you guys are the instructors.
Yeah. So I mean, the colleges fall under the same rules as high school. The high school kids aren't allowed to operate the boats. They can run the trolling motors, but they're not allowed to drive them.
Same thing with the
college is the same way, and they're dependent on guys to get out there and volunteer their time. And I know they're
this stuff like this is cool. I'd never heard anything about this, and I've followed IU sports.
Yeah,
my entire life. I've not followed Purdue sports. So.
Well, yeah, that's okay. It's all good.
You and Zach Walters. Do you know who Zach Walters is?
Mm-mm.
Indiana. Oh, I'm gonna mess it up. He's a weather kid, and he's from up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't happy with the weather situation people down this way, so I reached out. Zach Walters. He's from Tippecanoe County, and reached out to him and said, "Hey, pop on here with me." And he has a few times, and he's a diehard Purdue guy, and so. That's all he's rubbing it in right now. So it's not March yet, bud.
It's not March yet. That's for sure. It's Purdue's on it. They're looking good, but we'll see what happens.
It's the best chance I've ever seen them. And I've been around a long time for them to win a title.
If they play good Purdue ball, they'll have a chance. But if they continue to play sloppy like they have, turnovers is killing them.
Yep.
Then they're going to struggle.
And you can't tell me that Edie and Trace don't belong in the NBA because both those guys are going to provide good minutes for some rebounding defense, something.
Oh,
neither one of them can shoot a jump shot outside of 10 feet, but that's all right.
Yeah, they'll get there. I don't think they'll go this year, but I think they'll get there. I think they'll stick around.
Edie's staying, you think, Purdue?
Mm-hmm.
Trace is done, he said.
Yeah, I think he will stay. He'll stick around and get that
NIL money.
Yeah, I think he'll get a little bit of
I never got
playing time and all that. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm ready for tomorrow night too to see.
I'm not.
See the revenge of Purdue.
I'm not. I'm guessing 15 plus.
Yeah, I think so because IU's been a little bit. They've fallen the last couple games, and Purdue seems to kind of rebounding from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be nice to go with a win this weekend, and then see Purdue pull it out in April.
It was like April 3rd or 4th, yeah.
Yeah, in the bass tournament down there.
Oh, no, you're talking about your tournament.
Yeah, I'm talking about Lake Monroe down there. And watch Purdue win that one again.
We might have to go live at that one, especially if the Hoosiers pull it off.
You could.
Now, do they have college jerseys?
Oh, yeah. Purdue's got some pretty stout ones. They get IU spelled wrong, but...
Nuh-uh.
But yeah,
I'm gonna Google search this tonight. IU fishing now.
yeah, they do. I mean, and most colleges do nowadays.
Never heard of this.
Oh, there's a ton. Like there's a college bass fishing like World Series type thing. I mean, we're
Keaton.
Yeah,
get out and get your GI Bill or whatever they offer the Navy and go into college for fishing. Buddy,
yeah,
I'm telling you.
I mean, there's colleges all over the place that it's growing rapidly. You know, it's taken some while to take off. But
what if COVID helped?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
know it was around before COVID, but I don't.
Some of the weird things that have come. People working from home, businesses found out, hey, we don't need you. Half of downtown Indianapolis is empty to this day because of it.
I know
certain things like this have popped up where.
I know camping and fishing got popular because
Yes.
I mean you couldn't buy a camper because that's the only thing you could go do is get out of the house.
Nobody
You
was
couldn't-
wearing a mask while they were camping. I guarantee.
No, they weren't.
Only thing you want needs a mosquito net.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a growing sport and it's continuing to grow. That's the thing. It's continuing to grow.
That's awesome, man.
It's just getting bigger and bigger every year, and with these kids, that's what's critical about getting these kids at these junior hires and these high schoolers into it now because. I mean, they're the future of the college sport. They're the future of the pros. And if they're sitting home on their video games and we can't get them in the boats, then
right.
It'll die off again. But right now, I'm telling you, it's on a rampant.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Absolutely, it's on a big rise.
Keep us in touch. I'll follow the page and I'll share stuff the community page, or you can
Absolutely.
too. Lots of photos if you can. And once you get all your kids, I don't know if you guys meet or anything like that. But
yeah, we do.
If you do, let me know. We'll sneak up there and go live.
Yeah, we'll get it'll probably be 6-8 weeks. We found out today, unfortunately, the jerseys, it takes a little bit of time. We're battling.
You got it prints.
Yeah. Well, me and Forrest was having a long conversation today about getting the colors, and we thought about leaving the jerseys kind of towards their school colors, but we think we're just going to keep it one.
Right.
Less design, but they're a club.
It's
they're a team.
Club.
Yeah, they're a team. So we're gonna get them all the same jerseys, and I think we're actually gonna have a red in it. Unfortunately,
that would be cream.
Red and
cream and crimson.
No, we're going red. But yeah, well, it'll take about 6 to 8 weeks to get them in once we get them ordered, and we can't.
It's not Ohio State. We're all right.
Oh yeah, no Ohio State, but we'll get those ordered here. It'll be about 2 or 3 weeks before we can order them because we got to get the kids back together and get sizing and all that. But yeah, it'll be fun and interesting. It's going to be a great year, and I'm excited to see where this grows. The big thing is the one last caveat to it is these young kids. We need them to get out there. We need the parents to get involved. My son's a freshman. 4 years, he's going to be in college.
Right.
So we're going to run with this as long as we can, and I'm going to try to stay involved. But once he gets to college level, he won't be around. I'll still try to help run it and do all that. But we're going to need these younger parents to help step up, so it doesn't, like last time, kind of fade away. Which Forrest's kid's a 8th grader, so he's got an extra year over me and.
Even if they're bank fishing, they're still fishing.
Oh, even if they're bank fishing, because
they're learning.
That's where the subs are coming from, and that's what we've told every one of the kids. Like, hey, if we don't get you in a boat and a kid can't make it, the subs, the ones that are bank fishing, they're coming. We're not taking a kid from the outside. We're not going to pull in a ringer and, hey, come fish with this guy.
Right.
We're picking up the subs that are in the club that are putting their work in, even though they're not on a boat.
Good. Carl, thanks for coming in, man. I wish you nothing but success. Anything when you find out stuff from the sponsor, let me know.
We'll do. Yeah, we'll put all that out there for sure because
I'm sure
we're going to need
a few
community.
people that want to get a hold of you.
Yeah, even if it's only $20-$30 or a bag full of baits or something.
Right.
I mean, everything.
A fishing pole.
Fishing pole.
We can
whatever.
raffle off of money to get a fishing pole or something.
Every little bit helps. I do know that if we get the 501c3 set up like we're hoping, I've got Coca-Cola on board. I think for like $2,000. Bass Pro's on board. We've got a Case New Holland tractors are on board for a couple thousand, man. But we got to get the non-for-profit set up for that. Right. So that's going to take time.
Carl, thank you. Forrest, thank you. Good luck to you guys. What is it? Line stay wet and you can catch the big ones. How's that go?
I hope so. I'd love to see every one of these kids just excel this year, and it'd be neat to see a brand new club. When I say brand new, I mean again we're just continuing on from what they had started in the past, but get this club restood up and bring a state championship back home to Morgan County.
That'd be
First year
awesome.
out, that'd be
And you'd have to
phenomenal.
come in here with that big trophy.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal to see these kids in their rings, because they actually get rings and stuff. And I mean,
See, I'm
it'll
going
be
back. I'm going back to school. I
it'll
want to
be,
involve in this.
it'll be interesting to see.
That'd be fun. Thanks, sir.
As-
And good luck to you.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate all the community outpour. I mean, it's been phenomenal, all the messages and stuff. And hey, we'll help and so.
We'll have you back, and we'll definitely stay involved. So, thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. And I know it's going to run all night, and people are going to watch it, and I'll get messages. Hey, when's he coming back on? We'll have people replying to some stuff we said at 2, 3 in the morning. I'm like, that's not live now.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I'll get down there and say something in the middle of the night. Wake up and it's like, man, I've done it before.
Yeah. All right, man. We're gonna jump. Tomorrow, I'm out at Maple Grove's farm at 4:00. We're gonna introduce Maple Grove Farm to Morgan County. And Sunday, we're doing a benefit for down at hometown with for Brittany Grounds. So busy weekend. Love you guys. We will see you soon.